Procedure. The hearing commences under this procedure. Any representations that have been made should be relevant for licensing objectives, which are prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. And as you'll see, in the interest of fairness, the procedure provides for an equal amount of time for the applicants, responsible authorities, and interested parties to address the subcommittee. This is usually 20 minutes, which in the case of the part of this shared beginning with the attendance, obviously we have done this morning. I can use my discretion in this case, I don't think I will need to. So I will only all parties, the applicant, responsible authorities, and interested parties 20 minutes each. So do any parties present have any questions or clarifications at this stage in relation to the procedure? No questions? Lovely, thank you. Moving on then to item 5, which is the hearing, now inviting the licensing officer to present the application.
Huntingdonshire District Council, as the licensing authority, has received an application for a new premises licence from Charlotte McLaughlin for the premises Little Piggy Cafe, 21 High Street, Dunstanton, PE 28 9JZ. The application was received on the 14th of May 2024. As required under the Licensing Act 2003, notice of the application was advertised by blue notices displayed at or near the premises from the 15th of May 2024 and in the local newspaper on the 22nd of May 2024. The 28-day consultation period ended on the 11th of June 2024. A copy of the application is attached as Appendix A, which is the application itself, and Appendix B, which is a copy of the plan. The applicant has indicated that the area shaded in green and surrounded by a green line, shown in Appendix B, denotes the area where licensable activities will occur. The premises license application is applying for the following activities: supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises, Tuesday to Saturday, 1000 hours to 2230 hours, and Sunday, 1000 hours to 2200 hours. The hours the premises are open to the public have not been indicated on the application. Section M of the application form addresses the 4 licensing objectives. Any proposals made in this section are normally translated directly into enforceable conditions that will be attached to the premises license. Paragraphs 8.41 to 8.49 and Section 10 of the Home Office guidance issued under Section 182 refer to the operating schedule and license conditions. As part of the consultation, the responsible authorities, as determined under the Licensing Act 2003, were consulted on the application. A total of 3 valid representations were received, 2 from Environmental Health and 1 from Police Licensing. Their responses can be seen in summary at Appendix C. During the period for representation, a total of 3 valid representations were received from other persons. The representations and any subsequent correspondence are attached at Appendix D. A person who has submitted a relevant representation is entitled to address the licensing subcommittee at the hearing and ask questions of any other party appearing at the hearing. Not all matters raised within the representation may be relevant matters for consideration under the Licensing Act 2003. On this occasion, mediation was not possible, and the licensing authority must carry out its function under the Act with a view to promoting the licensing objectives. Each objective has equal importance, and the objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. The subcommittee must also give regard to its statement of licensing policy and any statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, as well as the Human Rights Act 1988 and the Live Music Act 2012. The Council must also fulfil its obligations under Section 17 of the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 to do all that is reasonably possible to prevent crime and disorder in its district. In making a decision, this application must be determined on its individual merits, having regard to the representations and supporting documents included as part of the report, along with additional information considered relevant at this hearing. As part of the decision process, the subcommittee is required to give its reasons for any decision arrived at. Where the licensing authority considers that action under statutory powers is appropriate, it may take any of the following steps: grant the application as applied for, refuse the application, add additional conditions to the premises license, exclude any licensable activities applied for, or amend dates and times of licensable activities applied for. Any decision made by the subcommittee must be reasonable and proportionate and promote the licensing objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I will now ask the applicant to address the subcommittee for no more than 20 minutes, or the witnesses are relevant.
Sorry, Chair. Do you want us to just ask if any members of the subcommittee have any questions?
Sorry, thank you for that. Any questions for the subcommittee? Having questions for the committee for the licensing officer and yourself, coach?
No.
Thank you. And the responsible authority, any questions for the licensing officer? Thank you. Sorry.
And yeah.
The applicant, any questions for the licensing officer? Excuse me. Moving on then, now I ask the applicant to address the subcommittee for no more than 20 minutes. And this is relevant. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I've never been to anything like this, so I'll just start to say this is very alien to me and not my usual mode of operation. I'm usually in the kitchen, so yeah. So excuse me if if I don't represent myself particularly well, but I am the owner of Sub-Committee. We run a cafe and catering business in Penstanton. We moved. The business has been in operation in one way or another for the last 13 years, and we moved to High Street, Penstanton, in May of 2022. Originally, we began our operation on that site as a catering company. We cater names of weddings and events, and once we moved to the site, we realised there was an opportunity to open a cafe in the existing in the existing shop front on the high street. So we began with renovations and opened the cafe in March of 2023. Since we opened, we have provided a much needed place for locals to come and have refreshment. There isn't any other cafe in the village. There's one pub, and we offer a place for all the local people to come. We have been very popular. We have regular customers, and we provide mainly breakfast and lunch, open usually from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. in the week on weekdays, and we open from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the weekends. We're closed on Mondays. We realised that there was an opportunity to offer Sunday lunches, as well as doing our normal cafe menu. We began offering Sunday lunches, and they have proved very popular. So we would like those to continue. We have not had an alcohol licence, and we have operated under a series of temporary event notices in order to stop Sunday lunch events. We have held, I believe it's 10 such events in the first 12 months of opening under a temporary event notice. Some of those have been Sunday lunches, and some have been on Friday evening, doing a booked dinner. So the cafe seats 20 patrons, and we sell tickets based on they come, they buy a ticket and they come. We know who our clients are going to be. We sell out, we hold the evening, and during those evenings, when we've had a temporary event notice, we have sold alcohol. They've been really, really well received. We get questions all the time from our customers. When we want to do more, they really want more. 70% of the customers attending our, we call them pop-up restaurant events, they have a Sunday lunch and the evening event. 70% of those customers are from within the village of Penstanton, so they're walking to the event. And they want more. People are asking us all the time, when are you going to do more? And obviously we're restricted under the temporary event notices to how many we can hold in a year. So we applied for a licence in order to be able to host more of these. Our intention would be to hold Sunday lunch events on many Sundays, probably in the winter, not necessarily in the summertime. So we would be open from sitting at 12 noon until 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon to let people have a drink with their Sunday lunch. And we also intend to hold more of our restaurant evenings on selected evenings throughout the year. This is likely to be limited to Thursday and Friday evening, but because of the restrictions of the application and the intricacies of what we were intending to do, we weren't able to say exactly how many events it's going to be. Partly because it's unknown to us, it depends on the popularity of the event, how many we can hold, and partly just because of complications. So normally our opening hours, which we said were not mentioned, the licensing officer said were not mentioned in the application. The normal opening hours, which I mentioned to you, are such, and then the extended opening hours we intend to be only for these special events. So when we've got a pre-booked event, we intend to open in an evening until it would be usually 7 p.m. sitting until 10 p.m. with a 10:30 hard leave time. What we've already done we believe that we have, during the temporary, when we have the temporary event notices in these events, we believe that we have trained staff and made sure that customers are aware that we live in a residential area and that we should not create any noise. We try and keep windows closed, we keep the music very low, and obviously inside you can see at the moment only 20 guests, so it's quite small. One of the representations made by one of the local residents referred to excessive noise coming from the property and noted one of the dates when we had a 10 as a date of contention that they were concerned about. To my knowledge, I'm not aware of any complaints on the remaining 9 dates. We have 10. I don't know of any problems there. But it is our we want to provide a fabulous service to the local community and we want to do a really, really good job. We absolutely love what we do and we get great reviews. Since the cafe's been opened, we have a 5-star TripAdvisor rating and 5 bubble TripAdvisor rating with only the exception is 2 ratings that are less than 5 bubble review. So customers love to come to us. On Google Maps, we've got a 4.8 rating, which is very high if you look at, surroundings. So we're very proud of what we do, and being a part of the local community is really important to us. We want to just do the best job that we can do and I love it when people love our food, and we want to create that ambience that people enjoy. And of course, it's really important to us that the local residents are on board and happy with what we do. We're there to provide for them, and it's obviously disappointing that some of the local residents are not 100% happy or they've got complaints and objections, and we like to do whatever we can to address that. We also have local residents in equal proximity to the people who have put in objections, who are very much in support of what we're doing. So we have a lot of local business. Last week people were being supportive. Everyone's having a license to allow them to have a drink with their meal, and we've got quite a lot of signatures of people who were supportive, like people from the village. I would also like to address the representations made from the members present. Suzanne Christie raised the issue of the outdoor area, which we haven't talked about yet. So the outdoor area is 4 picnic benches that we put outside in the permitted development on our own area to allow our patrons to have a drink, a meal outside during our existing opening hours. I included it on the application for the alcohol license purely to give us the flexibility that if people were dining outside during the daytime, having our normal meal, they could get a drink, a glass of wine or whatever for their lunch. It would not be our intention to use the outdoor area on an evening. It's not lit, it's only for daytime use. So our evening operations, when we hold our corporate restaurant evenings, they will be held indoors only. So there was a specific concern relating to public safety. We have conducted a risk assessment, obviously, which was in the original application, to look at the safety of public wildlife using our seating, because rightly so it is located next to our parking area and where we get deliveries. So our risk assessment highlighted that there were some things we needed to bear in mind. We have made sure that all of our staff and our suppliers are fully aware of the area and written to them and made them aware that there is a 5 mile an hour Speed limit on sites, it's impossible to go any faster than that anyway when you look at the site, it's very small, very enclosed. Wherever possible, we get all of our deliveries in the morning before 10 a.m, which is when we open to the public. We open at 8 a.m, but people really don't use the outside area until it gets towards lunchtime anyway. It's not a hard and fast rule, but obviously we're using sense, and if our suppliers come in and they're all aware to drive very slowly. Also, if we need to move during the hours when customers are present, we use guides, so we help each other to reverse if we need to, or go forward. We employ the other members of staff in the team to guide people down the driveway, and we considered the use of barriers, which was one of the suggestions that you made. And what we felt was that the use of barriers might actually be more of a risk to injury than safety. We felt like if there were any people children maybe might swing on barriers, which might cause a risk of them injuring themselves rather than necessarily protecting from the traffic. We feel like the traffic risk is very, very minimal because of the speeds and awareness of everything involved. I don't know how I'm doing time. I don't know if you've got.
Probably a few more minutes, yes.
Yeah,
We can
okay.
give enough time.
So I think that was the main thing there. With regard to the representation from Melanie with regard to the outdoor seating. Yeah, thank you. I think I've just touched on it that we don't intend to use it during the evening at all. So I don't know. I guess you might have some more further questions for me on that, but that's my note towards that comment. The representation is from the local residents. I believe I have touched on that. I don't know if I have any specific questions, but it might be that maybe the panel might want to ask some specific questions relating to those as we go forward.
Okay, is that conclude your presentation? Thank
Yeah, I just would like to say that just in addition to that, since we have been in operation, we employ 6 permanent staff in the cafe. 5 of those 6 live in Pensacola Village. We are an important employer, and in addition to the staff working in the cafe, we employ 20 members of staff in our catering operation. The majority of those, all of them live within 10 miles, but the majority of them live within 2 or 3 miles. So it's we feel like we are a valuable employer in the local village and a lot of businesses. And we want to be viable going forward, and in order to safeguard the job and also to safeguard the facility for the local people, we need to make our business profitable. And the 3 items that we have recognised as a business in order to make the cafe profitable, which in the first year of business we made a gross margin but not a net margin. So we need to look at ways to increase sales, we need to look at ways to improve profits. And there's 3 areas that we have identified that we can do that in order to remain a viable business. One of those is to have extended opening hours on occasions during the pop-ups. One is to have an alcohol licence so that we can increase our sales, and another is to increase our seating area, one of which is outdoors, although as you will notice from our application, our planning application, we've also put an application to convert some of the upstairs rooms in our building to dining rooms. So they are the 3 ways that we've identified that we might be able to increase business and remain viable. Yeah.
Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, do members of the Sub-Committee have questions for you? Councillor.
You spoke about the outside area, which is a concern. Is that is only the outside area? Is it only for deliveries or parking as well?
So the outside area is for deliveries and parking of staff only.
So only staff.
only staff parking there.
Okay. And do you advertise your events? Do you let your, because one of the things I say to people is regardless of your business or store or neighbour, these are your neighbours in instance.
Yeah.
So do you advertise your events in advance?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So the neighbours can know
Yeah.
when it is.
Yeah, we've got posters on the window in our cafe, highlighting dates for our events. Yeah.
I mean, I think I do have some concerns about the outside area. And how many people do you, it's 6? You wish to be able to sit outside.
There's 4 benches.
Oh, 4 benches.
Yeah, 4 benches, probably 6 a week. But, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the what the secretary authority at the trial might answer my questions. But thank you for answering that.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. Councillor Banks, any questions? No. Okay, so we'll move on to officers then. Do any officers present, licensing officers or the council legal representatives of this have any questions for the applicants? No. Okay, thank you. Responsible authority, do you have questions for applicants?
I have questions that are linked to my representation, so I don't know if you want me to go through my representation first and then ask questions, or if you want me to ask questions now.
Probably the logical to do it as part of your representation, I thought, yes. Okay, for that, yeah. We don't have the all parties present at the meeting, so we'll not on that. So moving on then to item C, which is now we just said to invite the responsible authority to address the subcommittee for no more than 20 minutes and before witnesses if relevant. Ladies.
Yeah, I've got I've worked in noise nuisance and noise abatement. I had just had a look on our system while we were talking, and you're right, there was a I think it must have been a temporary event notice on the 15th of February.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're referring to, that you knew there was some noise?
The only from the representation made
Yeah.
here, I've been in
Yeah.
our meeting.
Yeah. We've also got a complaint on the 15th of May, which is the fixed machinery, which is your ventilation going on all night. Anyway, I was just going to say that's what we've got. Yeah, I'm very concerned about the outside seating area. As I said, I've got absolutely no problems at all inside. You can keep the windows closed. I see that. And then you've got to ask people to leave. It's not like a nightclub. You're not there for a nightclub in the middle, which I'm absolutely happy about. But I do think there is potential for some noise from the outside area. Obviously, when it's nice and people are sitting outside drinking, your neighbours are going to possibly sit in their garden, having a drink or a cup of tea, or party outside. So I do have concerns about that, and I would like to say to you, I'm absolutely happy inside, but not the outside seating. I don't think there's a way around it for any sort of like noise barriers or the like. It's quite difficult to control conversational noise because you get people to shout, somebody will laugh or that's really loud. If it was like your fixed machinery, you can use noise barriers very usefully on that. But where you've got conversational noise, people noise, it's very difficult to control that with something like a noise barrier. So I do feel that the outside seating for me is going to be quite a big issue. But happy inside and outside. I know you've got a planning application in to convert some of the upstairs, the first floor to dining areas as well, haven't we? Like I said, I'm very, very happy with that, and I wish you well with that. But the outside one, I think people are going to be sitting there talking, laughing, and you've got people who may be sitting in their gardens nearby who are trying to read or something, and I think that would be very disruptive. I appreciate what you're trying to do. Just want a nice little outside area, to have wine and lunch and things like. For me, that would be something that I can't support. Everything else, absolutely fine, but not the outside area.
Thank you.
So generally when I've come to hearings, I've read out my representation. So if you're happy with me to do that, that's what I'll do. So my representation states, whilst I have not noted any immediate concerns from the environmental health business team's viewpoint in relation to 3 of the 4 licensing objectives regarding this premises license application, I do, however, have some concerns under public safety regarding the proposed new outdoor seating area for customers located in the yard area of the premises, as this yard area has historically always been used for vehicles to park and to deliver and dispatch food and other items to and from the premises, including using the loading bay at the rear of the commercial events kitchen. As such, please find attached a copy of the representation that I am submitting to licensing regarding the proposed new outdoor seating area for customers located in the yard area of the premises. As I don't want to repeat what I've just said. So there's no mention in the application of how the applicant intends to manage the movement of vehicles in the yard area, including company vehicles and delivery vehicles during times when customers and employees may be using the outdoor seating area in the yard area, other than the completion of risk assessments. Proposed condition, the licensee will identify and implement and maintain suitable and sufficient control measures to prevent, so far as is reasonably practicable, injury to customers, employees and others accessing or using the outdoor seating area in the premises yard by vehicles accessing the premises yard. These control measures must be in place at all times when the premises is open to customers. For information, such control measures may include prohibiting vehicles accessing the premises yard when the premises is open to customers, the fitting of suitable physical barriers of sufficient strength to separate pedestrian areas from vehicle movements, adopting a site vehicle speed limit, traffic calming measures such as a speed rumble strips or bumps, and warning and/or speed limit signage at the entrance to the site. Thank you for addressing my concerns. I appreciate what you said, that you carried out a risk assessment for the yard area. Regardless of what you've said, and I appreciate you've looked at the use of barriers and things, I still have some major concerns about that area. You're talking about 4 picnic benches. When I've carried out inspections in the premises before under food safety, I've noticed quite a large proportion of the people I've seen, your customers, have been adults with children, so I'm assuming that that will continue and they may well be in the outdoor seating area, particularly on a nice warm day. I can envisage children running around that yard area. I don't know if any of the licensing subcommittee panel members are familiar with the site, but I've visited the site a number of times. The yard area is relatively small. The vehicles that you have and you use are quite large. They're not just cars, they are panel transit vans that you've got at the back that you may need to access the rear of the premises for. And equally, the delivery vehicles that you've got coming to the site, because of the position of the entrance onto the yard, Fenstanton Village is heavily congested at the best of times, and vehicles may be trying to access your yard with not a lot of visibility, vehicles parked all the way along that road there. If you're a reasonably big transit van trying to pull onto that site and you've got parents who are chatting to each other, children who are running around who may or may not be under 100% parental control, I can envisage a child getting hit by a van. It wouldn't be anybody's intention, obviously, but the potential, I feel, is there. So what I would need in order for that, for me to feel confident that the risk is minimised, and it has to be as far as is reasonably practicable under health and safety legislation, that better controls need to be put in place than what you've currently got there. All I know that you've got there is what I've seen driving past. I haven't been on the site and I haven't discussed it with you. I did think before the hearing that perhaps we would discuss this rather than you've got a representation in, but I felt too strongly about it, so I decided to put a representation in. There will be ways and means around it, I'm sure, if you want to continue, but I think they would have to be very robust measures that are put in place. For example, customers would not be allowed to access the yard from the front pavement. They would have to come through the business and out of that side staff door. That proper safety barriers would have to be installed. I mean, physically installed, so that if a transit van did pull onto that yard area quite quickly, because they're having to speed up to get over the pavement and into the yard area, that they would hit something that is robust and would crash safely, fair safe. You know, that they would hit that, not a person, and that pedestrians would always be behind that safety barrier. Or you put something in place where that area is no vehicle access during customers. So if you don't want the outside area to be used until 10 o'clock, when your delivery vehicles have to arrive before 10, what are you going to do if there's an emergency or a delivery vehicle's got held up because of traffic and they're turning up at 11 or 12? Are you going to have something in place to clear the people from the outdoor yard area? I don't know, but I need to know that there's absolutely safe systems in place before I will feel comfortable and confident that there's no risk of injury going to happen. I can just see it happening.
Yeah, sorry, can I reply? Yeah.
We can ask that, we just need to go through the procedure, so first of all, members of the subcommittee will address the responsible person. Don't conclude your presentation.
Yes.
It does, thank you. So members of the subcommittee, do you have any questions for the responsible person?
Just for clarification, it's a yard area, there is no garden area there. It doesn't.
No.
Does it look like a garden area, I suppose I'm saying, so it is
It's
like you said, historically it's been a delivery and for parking of vehicles, just for clarification.
yes,
Okay.
it is a concreted yard area. There's a driveway that goes along the side of the fence and building that goes into a very small back area. It's very tight fitting. There would have to be reversing movements. If you went in forward, you would either have to reverse out backward, or potentially, depending on how big your vehicle is and what other vehicles are there, you would have to be manoeuvring, I would say, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, unless you're planning on getting rid of
reverse
your...
in or reverse out.
Yeah,
It is
which
really
you can't have a transit van reversing out when you've got kids, dogs, whatever else happening. And I don't know if you're planning on removing your outdoor walk-in freezer, or you've got currently a standalone office building there, haven't you, at the back? So if both of those were removed, you might have a bit more space to reverse around and do a 3-point turn and get out, but they are fixed and they are there. And I don't know if you have any intention of keeping them there or not. It's not something that's anything to do with me. It's obviously to do with you, business operating.
Well, thank you, I just wanted that clarification, because obviously there are concerns on my health and safety, thank you, so
Thank you. Any other questions from members?
Yes, yeah. You did mention it's not insurmountable, that there could be a way of putting up barriers, but there have to be substantial barriers. So it's not complete, and it was mentioned it's only staff parking there.
It's staff parking, but it's not just staff parking. The business has delivery vehicles, has large, well, I think the medium-sized transit vans.
transit vans, yeah, we do. So we have deliveries. We have most of our deliveries on a Tuesday. And unless there's an extenuating circumstance, because as you said, you know, sometimes there might be a reason why we have to have a delivery on a different day. But most of our deliveries come in on a Monday or Tuesday. Monday when we're closed, which is ideal, that's when we get two of our deliveries. And we get other deliveries. Our meat delivery is at between 9 and 9:15 every time we get a delivery. So we might have 2 or 3 a week, but it's always between 9 and 9:15 in the morning. So that's before people are using it at 10 o'clock. And we have considered the use of barriers as part of our risk assessment, as I mentioned earlier, and we did feel like if there were children that they might encourage them to swing on the barriers. You've seen children doing their gymnastics on barriers and bolting it like that. So that was kind of part of our thinking, was maybe it's safer not to have them, maybe the child would fall off the barriers climbing on them. And that was more of a risk impact than the risk posed by a vehicle. We have identified that the vehicles moving on site is a risk. And that is why we have informed all of our suppliers verbally and in writing, and all of our staff as well, and why we also use a
banksman.
Banksman,
That's another issue entirely. The banksmans are generally discouraged quite strongly. They have to be properly trained, competent banksmen who have a communication system with the driver, because banksmen get killed because they're at the back of the vehicle. So banksman is another complete conversation that I need to have with you, probably outside here, and along with safe systems of work and occupational health and safety, to do with how you can move forward if you want to use the site. Apologies, Councillor Banks, I've kind of jumped in.
No, thank you.
But we were, if future investigations were to find that the barriers were in fact a safe way to move forward, that is not something that we've discounted out of any other reason than what I've described. If barriers are a reasonable method for safety that's been, appropriate, then we can definitely move forward in that direction.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members at all? Okay, so moving on then, officers, do you have questions for the responsible authority?
Yes, Chair. If responsible authorities are happy and the applicant themselves are happy to introduce new information, we can share street view imagery of the actual site, which may assist in understanding, because the site plan itself shown in Appendix B doesn't obviously indicate the road. If all parties are in agreement to introduce that as new material, I can provide everyone with imagery of the street view so you can actually see.
I think that'd be very nice.
Yes, if everyone's happy with that. I'll just confirm with the applicant that, because the imagery is from November 2022, I'll just check that that is still accurate, and responsible authority, can you confirm that that's still an accurate representation?
Apart from now, there are benches and a fence panel.
Okay, so it's from premises to the area and outdoor sitting is right.
Adjacent to the building.
Is it?
Can I show you the picture?
Yeah, it's quite.
Can you see me?
Yes.
So where this car is parked
Yes.
here, the bench is just there now,
Right. Right.
and there's a bench panel at the back there, just to shield the view. And then there's benches there.
Thank you, that really helps in clarifying. Yeah, thank you very much, Shane.
And the benches have been indicated with where the cars are.
I think if that helps as well, putting forward a link to that to Elizabeth, so obviously when you go for your deliberation, and obviously consideration, and you've got that material to
That'd be really helpful,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions from officers to responsible authorities at all?
No,
No, thank you. Any other questions? There's a
Chair, can
Sorry,
I just respond?
yes.
I know that doing the wording
Mhm.
at the end, if you decide that you want to go ahead with what the applicant's requested with conditions
Yes.
attached.
Yeah.
There are other measures that could potentially be put in place. What I've suggested doesn't necessarily need to be set in stone, but I would like something in place that it has to be in agreement with the responsible authority, i.e. environmental health, occupational health and safety team, prior to the application being granted, or something along those lines if possible.
Yes.
I just asked one
Yes.
question. So it's all about the vehicles. So they have deliveries there, their staff parking. It's also a catering business, so do they have catering vehicles there on site?
No, that's what I'm talking about, the two transit vans that my experience that they have been off site. I don't know if
Yeah, no,
you've
the reality of the situation is that the event vans are used on Saturday when we do weddings and events off site. They obviously can be used on other days as well, but the majority of the time it's used on Saturday, and they're moving in and out of site. Usually out of site in the morning, 9, 10 a.m. to go to an event, and then returning probably between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. They're the vehicles that we have for the catering business that are normal mode of operation. And I've explained all the delivery vehicles on site. And we don't have any customer parking on the site. We haven't permitted that since we arrived on site.
Thank you. So do you have any other questions for the responsible authorities?
No, I'm very, very happy to collaborate and come up with a solution, and always open to your suggestions for how we can do things better than happening as well.
Small, yes. Do your staff have to park there? Would it be more turning space?
We employ 6 people on site and 5 on the village. We usually have we have one of the who works for catering in the park there, so there's 2 staff cars in the car park. Everyone else walks to work, living in the village. So the staff who do work will do parking in the yard, and that is to reduce the pressure on the local village parking, because there isn't a lot of parking in the village. So yes, we do take responsibility that our staff can park on our site, but coming out to people.
Right, moving on then. So we don't know any people having made representation at the meeting this morning. So likewise, I'm invited to address the subcommittee this morning. We can look at the written representations from those who've indicated that they're unable to attend. And we have obviously we have the responsible authority of licensing in Cambridge Conservatory. We also have Mr. McKay, who's stated unable to attend. Do we have any comments on written representations that we received?
On the first one,
Yes.
where the committee, it says there have been noise and odor issues from the environmental health. Do you know how many of those were?
Yeah, we've got one complaint on the we've got on the 15th. There was a noise complaint about going alongside with this, although it's not a licensing issue. This property has a planning application in for the change of use. So that was the noise one where it's the ventilation, refrigeration. The external plants refrigeration is making a lot of noise. So we've got I've got an ongoing noise complaint about that. That's going alongside the planning application, and there was one temporary event notice on the 15th of February this year, and we got a noise complaint from there. Must have been a pop-up pub.
Yeah, one about
Yeah. And we have a complaint on the 3rd of March 2023 about cooking orders.
So as part of as part of our planning application, we've applied for putting a new ventilation system, and it's part of the planning application to put in indoor fans and a whole new system for ventilation, which includes screens and then higher extraction height above the roof line.
Right.
That's part of the planning that's not yet in place yet. So we were trying to address that issue, but we're just held up in the planning process of applying the new chimney.
Yeah, those are the complaints we've got, and there was, I understand, this is my colleague John Sector would normally cover the Stanton area. But I understand there was some previous owners in place, which I think have now been addressed by you moving your whole growth business elsewhere. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the written representations from anybody? So members of the subcommittee have all noted the written representation, and we've taken all those on board. Yeah, lovely. Okay, and I now invite the applicants to sum up the application, but we have no more than 5 minutes just to summarise your application. No, don't introduce any new proceedings, please just summarise what you presented to us. Thank you.
Yeah, we are applying for a alcohol licence in order to support our business in growing and serving our community and to remain viable for the medium to long term. We wish to hold occasional pop-up restaurant events on evenings and on Sunday afternoons and serve alcohol while people eating. We are yeah, I think that's all we said about licensing.
So before we move on to item 6, which is exclusion of the press and the public, the subcommittee will now retire to deliberate. The council's legal advisor will provide legal advice and to record the subcommittee's decision. We're unclear how long deliberations will take. That decision will be sent out to you in writing as soon as possible. If you do want to wait around, you're welcome to do so. The choice is yours. But as I say, we don't know how long deliberations will take. All parties do have a right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of the decision. Elizabeth, is there anything you would like to add at this stage?
No, thank you.
So that leaves me to thank you all for your attendance today. We'll now move on to item 6, exclusion of the press and the public. Are you members happy to exclude the press and the public?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.